What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. A lot of folks are getting on Dr. Umar Johnson's case, but I think the best video, or one of the best ones that I've seen, besides the Tariq video, is that of Yvette Carnell. Now, just like Tariq Nasheed with hashtag FBA, Yvette Carnell is the person that came up with the term hashtag ADOS, all right? Another brother came up with a different version, but hers is the American Descendants of Slaves. So both Tariq Nasheed and Yvette Carnell are the opposite of what Dr. Umar Johnson is, which is they're not Pan-Africanists, okay? They still fall within the landscape of being pro-black, but not Pan-Africanists, okay? And so Yvette Carnell also has decided to take certain jabs at Dr. Umar Johnson's inability to build the school. And Yvette Carnell, no matter what some people may say or may not say about her, she's a very intelligent woman, all right? She's not dealing with feelings, and we're gonna find out.
You don't do any of that stuff when you run around doing podcasts. Now, I don't have a problem with doing a podcast. There are a few podcasts I will absolutely do, but he's on TV. He's doing something all the time. He's always on somebody's show. He's always in another country. He's always at an event. When you're doing something that has never been done, you better sit down somewhere and shut up and figure it out. I told y'all Umar was half crazy when he went on Joe Budden's pod. At the end of the pod, he listed 20 things that he was about to do. I'm going to have a women's conference, a kids conference, a journalism conference. I'm going to have a conference for relationship. I'm going to have a conference for people who like peanut butter. I said, did y'all hear this? This man listed out 10 different kinds of conferences that he's going to have. I said, do you understand how hard it is to put on one conference? But that's what happens when you're not a real leader and you're just sitting around playing dolls.
Now, this is important because she's talking about the fact that Dr. Umar Johnson was supposed to be building this school for boys, but you are always out and about, all right? And you know what? I never thought about that until today. Let me just say this, me in this business, content creator, I have very, very little time to be just out and about. I'm nowhere near the fame or notoriety of Dr. Umar Johnson, but that is a red flag. Now, I thought about it because you're at a podcast here, you're in South Africa, you're always on tour. So then what time do you have to be developing the school? Because if you look at his Instagram, he always has tour dates. I mean, Dr. Umar Johnson is always looking to be booked. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so true. Always looking to be booked. So then who is running the actual school? And then it seems like the school is just a scam because you're not there, all right? So there's no way that can grow because you're everywhere but the school. But check this other part out.
There's no way I'm gonna write do what I do and write and be good enough to write this reparations book, right? So Aisha jumps in and she writes it. She has that expertise. Everybody don't have everything. But if you don't sit down, if you can't sit down and be still with yourself and deal with your own disorder, you can't help nobody else. Can't help nobody sit still when you can't sit still and you always running around like a big old child.
Now, this part is interesting because she's talking about the fact that when it comes to her reparation ideas and bills and stuff like that, she is not doing all of the work by herself, okay? She has help. Now, again, this is important because if you look at this list here, that's Dr. Umar Johnson's speaking tour, okay? He's all over America, all over the world, still being booked excessively. I know for a fact he would definitely be in Kenya in January, all right? I know the lady who's bringing him here. I know for a fact he will be in Kenya, okay? Now, if you work in groups, you have people to help you. Here's the problem with Dr. Umar Johnson. He doesn't have a team. Nobody can work with a person that is a scammer, all right? It's the truth. You cannot have professional people buy into your vision that, number one, you can't pay. Number one, you don't want to give any kind of respect to. So you're literally doing everything on your own. So who is running the school? Who is coming up with the curriculum for the school? Who are the teachers at the school? These are the things that Dr. Umar Johnson never does. So we can't ever assume that he's doing these things because you just can't work with a guy like this. It's just the absolute truth, all right? But what she says next is also pretty good.
Oh, so we said license and accreditation, that's $50 to $250K. We're talking about a boarding school. That's how he started out. initial staff and recruitment, $200K to $500K, and that's low. Because he's talking about that's low balling. And we can just, let's just say it's a day school. That's still low balling it. Let's just say ain't no board. It's just day school, because that's what I think we ended up with. He lowballing. Let's go to marketing, admissions, and outreach. That's $50K to $150K. Let's go to working capital, $1 million to $2 million to cover initial months before tuition flows in. Typical startup costs, low end $4.5 to $5 million. High end $15 million if you're building or gut rehabbing an older property.
She breaks down the actual cost of the school. And I think this is important because Dr. Umar Johnson, he was so adamant about buying this school building. And again, it shows a person who doesn't know business. Most businesses that become very successful or big scale at the level that they can at first. And what that means is, okay, listen, this is what I have. I'm trying to figure out the system. Once I figure out the system, then I'm gonna go, and then once we start to show people that we can do X, Y, and Z at a high level, it then gives me the opportunity to scale. It gives me the opportunity to scale. But Dr. Umar Johnson didn't do that. Didn't have the money. You needed a rehab building. You had a rehab building. You were asking people to help you for the rehab building, okay? And so you couldn't even take care of anything at all. You had no real way of doing any of that. So now when you have no real way of doing any of that, you end up looking stupid, which is exactly what happened, right? You look dumb. You buy a building that needs a lot of help. You have no way of funding what you're doing, and you're begging for donations, all right? It's just like me here on YouTube. I'm a content creator. I have, some other things going, but I'm in a business where I can earn my own money. I can scale at my own pace. I can't just buy a content studio and I don't have the money, and I just start asking my audience, can you support me? Can you cash at me? It's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable because, number one, it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility to take care of what I have. It's not your responsibility. That is my responsibility to do that. All right? It is absolutely my responsibility. And so if Dr. Umar Johnson, who, number one, is taking the funds from the community, then you go out and buy a school that is in many cases damaged or needs repairs. So then how do you fix it? You're always begging for cash apps, and then you're not registered and things like that. So you don't have any collaboration. You don't have anybody that can help you. You have no way of getting any real funding. So you're gonna fail because you're not a business person. And she's absolutely right. It was easy to see why this would fail. He's not professional. Even when you're going out and you're going to getting paid off podcasts, I know for a fact that when Dr. Umar Johnson comes to podcasts, I think right now, the last I heard, the fee was like $3,000. The fee may now be higher than that because Dr. Umar Johnson brings so many views. So now you're probably charging like $10,000 a pop. And so the problem is none of that money goes back into the school because that money is for Umar. All right, that money is not for nobody else. That money is for Umar. All right, that money is for Umar. So you're not investing. You making your money. You're begging. And then again, I'm gonna always tell you guys, it just makes everybody look bad in the pro-black world. I don't care what sector of pro-blacks you are, right? Dr. Umar Johnson is #FBA. He's also a Pan-Africanist. But his failures represent on the entire community. It represents on the entire black community. And the reason why it does is because of his profile. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, L. Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.